ORM, boss. Spring ORM. Everyone, please focus. It is another module in Spring Framework, guys, that provides abstraction on Hibernate and other ORM frameworks to simplify the persistence logic development. Hibernate, IBTs, all these are ORM frameworks, object relational mapping frameworks, okay, that are built on the top of JDBC and given to solve the problems of JDBC. These are given to solve the problems of JDBC. Clear, my dear? It is a module of Spring Framework providing abstraction on multiple ORM frameworks like Hibernate, IBTs, and etc. ORM means object relational mapping, boss. Okay. This module simplifies the ORM mapping. What is that? Persistence logic development. ORM mapping persistence. I will explain what is ORM mapping. Though you don't know, don't Hibernate, don't worry. Today our focus is getting the basics of Hibernate, then using that knowledge in next classes. Super. ORM means object relational mapping. In Java environment, we can develop persistence logic in multiple ways. Using plain JDBC technology. Using Spring JDBC, right, boss? Using Hibernate. Using Spring ORM provides abstraction on Hibernate and other ORM frameworks. Hibernate, IBTs, and etc. Hibernate. In Java environment, we can develop persistence logic. Are you understanding my statement? Super, boss. Persistence logic in multiple ways. Using plain JDBC, using Spring JDBC, using Hibernate, using Spring ORM. Come on. There is one more way that is picking up nowadays. That is what? Using Spring Data JPA. Spring Data JPA. Okay. Provides more abstraction on. Provides more abstraction on. Super, guys. Provides more abstraction on Hibernate, IBTs, and etc. Are you understanding my state? Super, guys. Tell me, guys. Hibernate, Spring ORM, and etc. are given to overcome the problems of plain JDBC persistence logic development. Okay, boss. Now listen carefully. This is part of Spring Boot and microservice course test. Data JPA is part of what, guys? Etc. Part of Spring Boot and MS course. Okay, part of Spring Boot and MS course, right? Super. Using plain JDBC. In advanced Java, we have studied now, boss. Spring JDBC. In your course only, I taught JDBC template, named parameter JDBC template, and all this stuff. Using Hibernate, direct Hibernate. Using ORM. Indirectly working with Hibernate because it provides abstraction on Hibernate. Using Spring Data JPA provides more abstraction on Hibernate, IBTs, and etc. Hibernate, IBTs, and etc. Everyone getting my point there or not there? Hibernate, Spring ORM, and etc. are given to overcome the problems of plain JDBC persistence logic development. Shall we understand the problems of plain JDBC, boss? Limitations of plain JDBC. Uses database software dependent SQL queries to develop the persistence logic. So the persistence logic becomes database software dependent. Database software dependent. Can we understand this, guys? Okay. If I write JDBC code for Oracle, we have to use Oracle specific SQL query. If I write JDBC code for MySQL, I should write MySQL related SQL queries, right? Understanding my statement, guys? Yeah. So the database, because of this SQL query, the persistence logic becomes database software dependent persistence logic or not? Super. Change of database software in the middle of the development, application development is not possible. Is not possible. Understanding my statement, guys? Persistence logic is not portable logic. What do you mean by portable logic, guys? We cannot change from one database software to another database software. Cool. We cannot send Java objects as the direct values to SQL queries. That means we must convert Java object data into simple values to set to SQL query params. To set as SQL query params. Okay. Now listen very carefully, boss. In plain JDBC, queries will be there. Queries needs input values. Can we set objects as query input values, guys? I have employee object with the 10 details. I want to insert that object data into a table by using insert query. Can we set employee object as insert query parameter values without converting them into simple values? Not possible. So though your data is there in the object, in order to set them as query parameter values, we need to convert into simple values or not? We need to convert into simple values or not? I want reply, boss. We definitely need to convert into simple values or not? Yes or no now? Yeah, that's one thing. Select query execution gives results at object, which is not a serializable object to send over the network. To send any object data over the network, it must be serializable, na boss? Super, guys. Contains what, guys? Lots of boilerplate code. Contains lots of boilerplate code. Lot of common code will be there. So these are the problems with the plain JDBC. Plain JDBC. Once again, look at first point. We use SQL queries in the JDBC persistence logic. These SQL queries are database software dependent queries. So the persistence logic becomes database software dependent or not? Super. Next, B. Change of database software in the middle of the application development is possible or is not possible? Definitely not possible. That means persistence logic is not portable logic, boss. Super. Next. Okay. Okay. Though data is there in Java objects, can we set Java objects as query param values, guys? Can we set Java objects as query param values, guys? Definitely not possible. Definitely not possible. What do you say, boss? So if you want to set Java objects data as query param values, we must convert them into simple values. What do you say, boss? Super. Next, select query execution gives a result set object, which is not a serializable object to send over the network. Can we send result set object over the network, guys? No, not possible. Lots of boilerplate code, where a lot of common code will be there. To overcome all these problems, take the support of OR mapping logic. What logic, guys? OR mapping logic. With the support of ORM frameworks like Hibernate. OR mapping logic. Okay, OR mapping means object relational mapping. ORM, OR mapping, all are one and the same, Raghav. Super. What is OR mapping? Listen, first try to understand what is OR mapping. The process of mapping Java class with database table, Java class properties with DB table columns, and making the objects of Java class representing DB table records, having synchronization between them is called OR mapping. What do you mean by synchronization, boss? The modification done in objects reflects to DB table records. Similarly, the modification done in DB table records reflects to objects. Yes or no? Na? That is called synchronization between objects and DB table rows. That is simply called synchronization between objects and DB table rows. Everyone getting my point there or not there? Come on. Super. The process of mapping Java class with the DB tables and the properties of Java classes with the DB table columns, and also making the objects of Java classes representing DB table rows, having synchronization is called OR mapping. Having synchronization is called OR mapping. Say something, my dear. Super, guys. The synchronization between objects of Java classes and DB table rows is nothing but any change done in Java class objects. Java class objects will reflects to DB table rows, vice versa. Vice versa means reverse also. Right. Vice versa means reverse also. Come on, guys. Java class mapped with the DB table is called entity class or model class or domain class. Domain class. It is generally Java. Generally Java bean class. Guys. See, guys, entity class, employee.java, how many properties are there? 4 properties are there. Table, employee underscore table, DB table. How many columns are there? 4 columns are there. Okay. OR mapping configuration, either using XML or annotations, we do this configuration. Here, first you check, class is mapped with the table. Java class is mapped with the table. Come on. Java class is mapped with the table. Tell me how many properties are there? 4. How many columns are there? 4. Here, first property mapped with the first column. Second property mapped with the second column. Third property mapped with the third column. Fourth property mapped with the fourth column. Right, boss? Come on, guys. Yes or no? Na? 4 properties mapped with 4 columns. Tell me, my dear. So if you want, you can match column names and property names, guys. No problem. Generally, we match also. For understanding purpose, I have taken different names. Now what happens, When you develop the logics, boss, each object of employee class starts representing each record of the DB table. Check it out. Java application having OR mapping logic. Object one. Come on, come on. Need not to match, boss. If you match, no problem. Clear? You need not to match. If match, no problem. See, object one representing table, record one. Object two representing record two. Object one representing record one. Object two representing record two. If you modify object data, if reflect to table. If you modify table row, reflect to object. The modifications done in objects reflects to table row. The modification done in table row reflects to object. This is called synchronization. This is called synchronization. What do you mean by synchronization, guys? The modification done in objects reflects to table row. The modification done in table row reflects to objects. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Come on. Super. Yeah, this is called OR mapping, boss. Okay, now listen. 20 rows are there, 20 objects. 30 rows are there, 30 objects. 40 rows are there, 40 objects. And every persistence operation we try to do through objects only. For example, I have a requirement of inserting new record 103. I create new object for employee class, fill up with the data, give to ORM framework like Hibernate. Okay, now what ORM framework will do? Collects the object data, generates the insert SQL query dynamically, keeps object data as SQL query parameter and inserts the record. Now onwards, newly created object for employee class and newly insert record will be there in synchronization. What do you mean by synchronization? If you do modification in object, reflect to table row. If you do modification in table row, reflects to objects. Come on, guys. So am I doing insert operation through objects now, boss? Super. I want to display the record. Select operation on the record. I want to display the record, nothing but I want to perform select operation on the record, boss. Understanding my statement, guys? Come on, my dear. Everyone getting my point here? Come on, everyone. Yeah. Select operation, guys. You read object data. Indirectly, we are reading the record now. Super. What about update operation? You modify update object data. The modification done in objects reflects to table rows now. Yes, that is update operation. Okay. You mark this object for deletion, Rava. You mark this object for deletion and inform the ORM framework. Are you understanding my statement? Inform the ORM framework. Inform the ORM framework. Automatically record will be deleted now, boss. Automatically record will be deleted. Check it out. I'm doing insert operation, no insert query through object. Update operation, no update query through object. Select operation, no select query through object. Delete operation, no delete query through object. Every activity I am doing through objects or not. Every activity you are doing through object or not. I want reply. Everyone. So that means in OR mapping, all persistence operation will happen through objects, guys. Okay, we give all persistence instruction to ORM through objects. This ORM internally uses JDBC code plus SQL query to complete those operations. That we are least bothered. But we are able to do everything through objects. More importantly, objects will remain same. Tomorrow, if database software is changed, so indirectly, whatever persistence logic we are writing through objects, that has become database software independent persistence logic or not? That has become database software independent persistence logic or not? Okay, I will tell this one. In JDBC, you want to talk to opposite person Chinese by learning Chinese language. Yes? Okay. Chinese person is changed to Korean person. Then I have to talk in Korean language by learning Korean language. For me, that is very headache now, boss. Okay. Between you and that person, you and your destination person, one translator app has come. Language translator app has come. I have chosen source language English, destination language as Chinese. This app will convert English to Chinese and Chinese person will understand or not. Tomorrow Chinese gone, Korean has come. So I change destination language to what, guys? Korean. I speak same English, it will change to whom? It will change to whom? Korean language. But you see the beauty. Okay, see the beauty. Because of the translate app, do I need to learn Chinese language? Do I need to learn Korean language? I still need to learn my own language, that is English, right? So ORM framework also acting as a translator now, boss. So that whatever the database, relevant SQL queries will be generated dynamically. As a developer, you always should write persistence logic through objects now. As a developer, you always should write persistence logic through what? As a developer, you always should write persistence logic through objects or not, boss? Is it not interesting, boss? Is it not really interesting, boss? Come on. Yeah, that's why Hibernate kind of ORM frameworks are becoming popular. Sir, we are not learning Hibernate now, we are learning Spring ORM. Are Spring ORM, Spring Data JPA, they are built on the top of Hibernate only. They are internally using Hibernate. Right now, boss? See, I created new object. Filled up with the data given to Hibernate to insert the record. Here database is Oracle. It will generate Oracle specific insert SQL query, inserts the record. Tomorrow, I changed Oracle with MySQL. Same insert operation I want to do. Again, I've created new object, filled up with the data, given object to ORM framework. This time, this ORM framework generates MySQL related insert query dynamically. But listen, the way I create object, the way I fill up the object, the way I give object to ORM framework to insert the record is changed or not changed. Why? We are not dealing with queries. We are dealing with objects. So this object style programming remains same irrespective of database software is changed or not. That's why OR mapping persistence logic becomes database software independent persistence logic or not. OR mapping persistence logic becomes database software independent persistence logic or not. I want reply, my dear. I want reply, my dear. Come on. How Hibernate knows which database we are using. Array, before using Hibernate, we give some information about database to Hibernate. We configure database information to Hibernate through XML files and annotations. Through XML files and annotations. Tell me, in OR mapping, object represent DB table records on one object per one record basis. One object per one record basis. All code operation takes place through objects without using any SQL queries. Since the objects remain same for all database software, we can say OR mapping persistence logic is database software independent persistence logic. Are you understanding my statement? We configure dialect component in Hibernate specifying database software name indirectly. And this dialect component, okay, is responsible to generate the SQL query based on the database software we configure. Based on the database software we configure. Everyone getting my point there, guys? Come on. Based on the database software we. Cool, guys. Got the clarity was? In OR mapping, saving object means saving the data of the object to DB table as record. DB table as record. So, updating object means updating the record represented by the object. Selecting object means loading the record into Java class object. Deleting object means deleting the record represented by the object. We use the terms object was, but actually they refer to delete object means we are not really deleting object. We are deleting the record represented by the object. Selecting object means loading object means loading the record into the object. Updating object means updating the record represented by the object. Saving object means inserting record to DB table. Super boss. Yeah, these are the ORM frameworks that are there in the market. Hibernate, number one. IBTs, OJB, TopLink, Eclipse Link. Number one is this, number two is this, IBTs is number three. Remaining all are outdated, not so popular. But number one is still Hibernate. Okay, just now I said one point. Sir, how ORM can complete persistence operation on database software? Because database software understands what, guys? Only SQL queries, right? Database software understands only SQL queries. What do you say, boss? Database software understands only SQL queries. Do you think it will understand more than SQL queries, guys? Come on, come on. Database also understand only SQL queries. But Hibernate is getting instruction through objects now. That means Hibernate or ORM framework internally uses JDBC code plus SQL query. That JDBC code and SQL query will be generated dynamically. To perform persistence operations in the DB table. To simply perform persistence operations in the DB table. Convinced, my dear? Come on. Super. Check it out. All ORM frameworks internally use JDBC technology and generates the necessary queries, the necessary SQL queries. Generates the necessary SQL queries while executing the objects-based OR mapping persistence logic. While executing the objects-based OR mapping persistence logic. Convinced, my dear? Got the clarity, boss? Come on. Once again, check it out. All ORM frameworks internally use JDBC technology and generates the necessary SQL queries, right? The necessary SQL queries while executing the objects-based OR mapping persistence logic. Super. All ORM frameworks also take care of synchronization between objects and table rows. That means modification done in objects will reflect to DB table rows and vice versa. Vice versa means what? Reverse also true. Vice versa means what? Reverse also true, guys. Super, guys. Spring ORM is not a ORM framework. Is not a ORM framework. Is not a ORM framework. It is a module. It is a module in Spring. It is a module in Spring, boss, that provide abstraction on multiple ORM frameworks. That means we can work with multiple ORM frameworks in simplified manner. Convinced, my dear? Everyone should concentrate. Spring ORM is not a ORM framework. Point 1. It is a module in Spring framework. It is a module in Spring framework that provides abstraction on multiple ORM frameworks. That means we can work with multiple ORM frameworks in simplified manner. What manner, guys? Simplified manner. Convinced, my dear? Got the clarity, guys? We can work with multiple ORM frameworks in simplified manner. Super, guys. Yeah, tell me, guys, in JDBC, entire persistence logic is written through SQL queries. In Hibernate or Spring ORM, the persistence logic will be written through objects. These objects will remain same even though database software changes. So that's why OR mapping persistence logic is database software independent persistence logic or not. That's the main difference, Rabab. And it is portable across the multiple database software or not? It is portable across the multiple database software. What do you say, guys? JDBC persistence logic is SQL queries based persistence logic. So it is database software dependent persistence logic. And not a portable persistence logic, right, boss? Not a portable persistence logic. Super, guys. Next, ORM persistence logic is objects based. Objects based database software independent persistence logic where the SQL queries will be used, where no SQL queries will be used. So the persistence logic is a portable logic, boss. Everyone understanding my statement, guys? Yeah. Let me compare Hibernate persistence logic and ORM persistence. Plain JDBC persistence logic. Plain JDBC code, guys. Load JDBC driver class. Establish the connection with the database software. Create the statement object. Send and execute SQL query in database software. Gather the results and process the results. Exception handling, close JDBC object. Common logic, application specific logic. Common code is equal to boilerplate code. Lot of boilerplate code is there or not there? Lot of boilerplate code is there or not there? Come on, my dear. Super. Now listen, plain Hibernate code. Tell me. Create configuration object. This is Hibernate configuration object. Activates Hibernate framework. Create session factory object. Keep multiple resources ready, like dialect, which is ready to generate SQL queries, connection pool, transaction manager, and etc. Create a session object. It is connection plus plus. Object. Okay. These are also common logics. Execute entity class object based persistence logic. Gather results and process result. Application specific logics was. Close session factory. Common logics. Come on, my dear. Got the point here or not? Everyone understanding my statement here or not? Are you understanding my statement? Execute entity class object based persistence logic, gather results and process results. Close the session factory. Listen, guys, again, here common logics, here common logics. Here we are having application specific logic. That means in a plain Hibernate also we are having boilerplate code problem. Here also we are having boilerplate code problem. We have multiple common logics to execute or not. Now listen, dialect generate SQL queries based on the objects based persistence instruction. Connection pool keeps a set of readily available connection objects. Transaction manager keeps database software ready for commit and rollback operation. Keeps ready for commit and rollback operation. Now listen, boss. Okay, plain JDBC code. This persistence logic is database software dependent logic. Right, my dear? This persistence logic is database software independent logic. Database software independent logic. Everyone getting my point, guys? This persistence logic is database software independent logic. Okay, it's object based. Now listen, Spring ORM integrated with Hibernate. What is this persistence logic, guys? This persistence logic is database software independent. Database software independent. You guys, now listen. Configure and inject. Configure and inject Hibernate template class object. Take care of common logic. JDBC template will take care of common logics there, na? Your Hibernate template will take care of common logics. Are you listening my statement, guys? Come on, can you respond? In Spring JDBC, we have JDBC template taking care of common logics. Please, come on, guys, come on. In Spring ORM, what is there? Hibernate template is there, right? Taking care of common logics. Perform objects-based persistence operations. Gather results and process results. These are application-specific logics. And common logics are taken care by what? Hibernate template. So that means completely boilerplate code avoided or not? Here, no. No boilerplate code. I think everyone knows what is boilerplate code. No boilerplate code here because the Hibernate template class takes care of common logics generation. Common logics generation. Takes care of common logics generation. Suparna, boss. Tell me what is that? Developer develops Spring application. Spring application having persistence logic. Persistence logic. Suparna, boss. That internal uses Spring ORM framework. Spring ORM framework uses Hibernate. Hibernate uses JDBC. JDBC interacts with the database. Okay. ORM provides abstraction on Hibernate. Hibernate provides abstraction on JDBC. JDBC interacts with the database. Understanding my statement, guys. Now here, SQL queries based interaction. Array, in the top layers, we may do lot of hangama, lot of abstraction, lot of easiness. At the end, one or other fellow should generate SQL queries, should use JDBC code to interact with the database software from Java. Either directly or indirectly, JDBC code plus SQL queries will be there. Are you understanding my statement, guys? Database software understands only SQL queries. SQL queries. So we may have multiple high-end layers in different levels of abstractions. At different levels of abstraction. At different levels of abstraction. So we may have multiple layers. Okay, at high end layers, multiple high-end layers at different levels of abstraction. But at the bottom abstraction, okay, generating abstraction which internally uses JDBC code plus SQL queries to interact with the database software and to complete persistence operations on database. And to complete persistence operations on database. Okay, guys. Now listen. Working with plain JDBC. Working with plain JDBC is like washing clothes by hand. Yes, now boss. By hand without any soap. Soap also not used probably. Working with Spring JDBs. Spring JDBs is like washing clothes by hand with soap. Next, guys. So, working with Hibernate. Hibernate is like washing clothes with manual washing machine. Manual washing machines, you know, na? Mechanical washing machine. Okay, the person has to rotate the spindle manually. Mechanical washing machine. Yes or no? Na? Working with Spring ORM. Is like washing clothes by using semi-automated washing machine. Guys, boss. Working with Spring Data JPA. is like washing clothes by using fully automated washing machine. Fully automated washing machine. Everyone getting my point there, guys? Come on, my dear. Convinced, my dear. Got the clarity, my dear. Come on. Working with plain JDBC is like washing clothes by hand without any soap. By hand with soap. Hibernate mechanical washing machine. ORM like semi-automated washing machine. Spring Data JPA is like washing clothes using fully automated washing machine. Okay, but listen carefully, boss. Listen carefully. At the end, everyone has to generate JDBC code to send and execute instructions in the form of SQL queries. Ultimately, SQL queries are required. Ultimately, SQL queries are required in all levels of execution. Come on, my dear. Convinced or not, boss? Understanding my statement, boss? Come on. I think everyone understood why we are learning Spring ORM. See, JDBC is good, but some problems are there. Can we say JDBC is outdated, guys? If anyone says JDBC is outdated, you should laugh at them or not. Is JDBC outdated? Is JDBC API or technology outdated or not? Is JDBC API or technology is outdated or not? Is outdated or not? Come on, my dear. Is JDBC API or technology outdated or not? Outdated or not? I want reply, boss. No, sir. No, sir. Since all ORM frameworks, Spring JDBC, Spring ORM, Spring Data JPA, or frameworks are directly or indirectly using plain JDBC code plus SQL queries to send and execute SQL queries to send and execute. Tell me, SQL queries in database software to send and execute SQL queries in database software. Are you understanding my statement, guys? We cannot say JDBC is outdated. In fact, okay, we can say the direct utilization of plain JDBC is reduced. In that place, Spring JDBC and other JDBC. In that place, Spring JDBC or Hibernate or Spring ORM or Spring Data JPA is used. Spring Data JPA are used where JDBC will be used in turn. Where JDBC will be used in turn. Come on, guys. Are you understanding my statement, boss? Are you getting my point here, boss? Come on. Are you getting my point here, boss? Come on, everyone. Okay, so that's why don't ever dare to say JDBC is outdated. And moreover, see guys, if you have a structured data, go for SQL database software like Oracle MySQL. As long as structured data is there, SQL database softwares will not be outdated. Will not be outdated. Clear, guys? Got the point, boss? Everyone convinced, my dear? Super, guys. I think today you got idea what is OR mapping? It's a process of making Java classes representing DB table records. Properties of Java class representing DB table columns. And making the objects of Java classes representing. Okay. Tell me. Making objects of Java classes representing DB table records. Having synchronization. What do you mean by having synchronization? The modification done in objects reflects to DB table rows. Similarly, the modification done in DB table rows reflects to objects. Reflects to objects. This is called OR mapping or not? This is called OR mapping or not? I want reply, boss. I want reply. Convinced, my dear? Got the clarity? Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Have a nice time. Tomorrow we'll start the coding of this box.